Chapter 6423. Under the cover of night. All the phosphate mining areas in central Morocco are working with bright lights. In order to ensure mining efficiency, the mining area has been working without stopping, and various mining equipment has been running at full capacity, mining frantically on the white phosphate ground. Duke Mining is no exception. Here, the people responsible for production and mining are all the cavalry guards of the Warriors' Den and their families. This is mainly because the mining areas are all on the ground. In order to prevent the dead soldiers and their families from knowing too much about the geographical features of the surrounding environment, they never let the dead soldiers and their families come out of the mine in a conscious state. The dead soldiers usually live and receive training underground. When there is a mission, they will be secretly sent out by the cavalry guards. At this moment, no one in the cavalry guards of the entire Duke Mining is taking turns to rest. In addition to those working in the mining area and the refinery, there are hundreds of people continuing to weld towering iron frames in various parts of the mining area. At present, most of the iron frames have been completed and the circuits have been run through. What remains is to install various monitoring equipment and lay the wires needed for the monitoring equipment. On the platform of the railway freight yard, more than 50 cavalry guards were waiting anxiously. Most of them were Asian, with a few European, American, and African. The leading man stared in the direction of the railroad tracks, looking down at his watch from time to time, muttering, "It's past 8 o'clock, why hasn't the train arrived yet?" At this time, a white-faced man came running anxiously. He came to the leading man and said, "Commander, Lilia asked me to ask you when the train will arrive. She said that if the equipment cannot be installed today, she will report to the governor's office and ask the Grand Governor to punish her." The man called the commander said in annoyance, "I reported to her this morning about the damage to the circuit of the Casablanca port freight station. At the same time, I also confirmed with my colleagues over there that the circuit of the freight yard indeed has a problem, which affected all trains today to varying degrees. But the train had already left at around 5 p.m. and would definitely arrive tonight. Is it necessary for her to keep asking over and over again?" While speaking, she heard a woman's voice coldly saying, "Commander Yin, you and I both serve the Lord. The reason I urged you was that the progress here had already been significantly behind expectations. If the Grand Admiral blames me, I will at most be scolded, but you, the person directly responsible, will not be able to get away with it so easily." The commander immediately turned around and saw a woman in her early 20s, wearing a white shirt, with long hair tied behind her head, and a heroic figure, stepping onto the platform. The white shirt this woman wore had a strong ancient Chinese style. She had a white ribbon tied to her bun and even a slender silver sword on her waist. If she hadn't been standing on this train platform, she would have looked more like a character from a martial arts novel. However, the two were still hundreds of meters apart at the moment. But her voice could ring in the commander's ears like thunder. His face turned stern, and he thought to himself, "This is the power of a cultivator. Just a few words from her can shock people's hearts and cause their internal energy to fluctuate. If she uses a few more powers, I'm afraid I won't be able to stand still." Shocked, he quickly turned around to greet the woman. Before he got in front of her, he had already raised his fists above his head. When he walked in front of her, he immediately knelt on one knee and said respectfully, "Don't misunderstand, madam. I don't mean to blame you. It's just that this batch of goods is really not easy to get. There have been many troubles since the purchase, and it took a long time to finally arrive. I thought it would be shipped this morning, but I never thought that the freight station would have a circuit problem." Having said that, he hurriedly added, "But don't worry, Ms. Secretary. The train has indeed been sent out. Even if it is slow, it should arrive within half an hour." The young woman did not speak. Her eyes fixed on the other end of the railway, and said, "Commander Yin, I will listen to your objective reasons. But the Grand Commander may not. If this equipment arrived today, you will only have 3 days to install and test them. After 3 days, when everything is accepted, you will have to prepare for a major change. Time is of the essence here. When the woman called Secretary Lilia Song said the 2 words major change, the expressions of everyone around them instantly became nervous. The commander hurriedly asked her respectfully, "Lilia, I dare to ask, what do you mean by the big change?" Lilia said calmly, "Judging from your reactions when you heard these words, you should have heard about it, right? You cavalry guards are not dead soldiers. And you are not so isolated from the news. For such a big thing, your special envoys will probably tell you about it. Why do you have to ask me?"